Welcome, everyone. Like I said, my name is Katja Wald. I am the Executive Director here at the MIT Enterprise Forum, Cambridge. Thanks for all being here. Today we have 4 new startups presenting. They are 8-minute presentations followed by 5 minutes of Q&A. Please make sure to chat your Q&A in the chat box. I'm going to manage that. So you can chat it while they're talking, while you're thinking about the question, whatever you want. The voting link is here below. We'll also share it after the event in an email. We'll share the recording as well, probably not till Monday. It takes a little while to edit the recording. I do want to take a minute to congratulate our winner from last week's demo day. The popular vote winner is Ambulatory Innovations. They are a UMass Lowell company, and actually I want to congratulate them because today was actually supposed to be their graduation day. So great news for them on their graduation day. Congratulations. Their mission is to create innovative products that physical therapists will use in their treatment plans to enable their patients to reach their full potential. They're currently developing a multi-purpose device that can be used for balance, stability, gait training, and more. And so again, congratulations and congratulations on your graduation. Hopefully you guys can celebrate that with your friends soon. Again, the audience has 5 minutes today to ask questions. Type your questions in chat. You have 1 vote per person. The recording will be on the website until May 21st, and the winner will be announced at the next demo day, which is May 22nd. We also have a Slack channel where you can connect with the folks here if you want to chat with them, and they're posting their slides there as well. This is part of many programs that we do. We have 2 more demo days. Starting Monday, we have a Start Smart class for entrepreneurs. We have a virtual workshop on making your self-financing ready. We're doing an event on driving our collective economies with quantum computing. We have a launch clinic with cybersecurity startups. And then fingers crossed, our Connected Things 2020 in-person event that we rescheduled from March will happen on September 14th. I do just want to say what we do is supported by our members and our sponsors. So please, if you can, support us by joining as a member or talking to us about sponsorship. And with that, I want to just hand it over quickly to James Coe from Hamilton Brooks Smith Reynolds, who's going to say a few words.
Hi, thank you, Katja. Hi, everyone. I hope you're all doing well today. My name is James Coe. I'm an attorney with Hamilton, Brooks Smith & Reynolds. I'd also like to recognize 3 of my colleagues who are also here today over Zoom: Ron Dempscher, Ben Sparrow, and Judy White. So Hamilton, Brooks Smith & Reynolds has been involved with the MIT Enterprise Forum for a number of years now, and we're really happy to be sponsoring today's event. We're a law firm specializing in protecting intellectual property. We counsel clients on issues related to patents, trademarks, and copyrights. So as part of what we do as IP attorneys, we get to learn about interesting ideas and technologies that our clients are developing. So we really enjoy being part of events like these. So again, thanks Katja, Amy, and the MIT Enterprise Forum for putting together this event and for having us participate. We're looking forward to hearing from the presenting startups. Thanks.
Thanks, James. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Amy to introduce our first presenter.
Thanks, James. Thanks, Katja. I'm Amy Goggins. I'm the program director here at the MIT Enterprise Forum, Cambridge, and I'm introducing the first presenter, who is Rafi Sila from AR Challenges. Rafi, you can go ahead and share your screen.
In order not to speak to myself.
Rafi,
yes?
you were muted, so why don't you start over?
Okay, I just mumbled that I need to pick up my slides to the share screen. So here we are. Good afternoon, everybody. I am thrilled to be here. AR Challenges is an old company, but it has spun off a very new opportunity in the waste to energy. And we have worked diligently for a long time to come up with the only system that is based on both circular economy, which I'll explain in a second, and zero waste. In other words, what we are doing, we're going to the customer, we take all the waste except building materials and hazardous, including sludge from wastewater system and biological waste from hospitals, and we turn it into products, usually energy products. Why isn't it? Okay. So the problems that are currently in the world of waste are very severe. We have problems with total waste processing. The municipalities have different organizations that take away part of the waste and the rest has to be landfilled. The landfills, as you all know, are a problem. The sorting mechanism now is very unstable because we don't know what cardboard, plastic, cardboard, food, and all this is mixed together. The current incineration methods are not good enough for the pollution and the cost effectiveness. Gasification is the same. And the major problem is that now waste to energy are all very big operations. You have to take all the waste, bring it to one place, incinerate or gasify it, and produce electricity. Electricity today is going away from large operations to smaller systems adjacent to where it is used. So no large infrastructure is involved. And the last and most problematic energy problem that has arisen due to COVID-19 is that once the use of electricity falls dramatically, the big systems cannot cope with it. And so there might be other problems. So what are we producing? We are the only one who are really zero waste to landfills. We do not need to have the participants, which are the inhibitors, the residents, do the work for the organization. No sorting at the source. There is one bin, one truck. It brings everything to us and we do the work. We have a unique process in which we process the waste into hot air, 1200 degrees. And then what we do is we store the hot air in containers and we actually can move the containers to the place in which energy is needed and produce electricity, HVAC, or hot water or steam. We have a specific patented process in which the char, what is left from the gasification, is turned into activated carbon, which is a very expensive commodity. And we have a medical grade activated carbon. So it is a very nice system to have. Of course, we have unique systems for hospital, hotels, big campuses, and so on. The advantages are, of course, that we have automatic sorting to zero waste, gasification to hot air, which is almost no pollution, hot air turbine, which we have developed together with Caterpillar, solar turbine, where we are taking hot air and compress it and turn the turbine. We get hot air out, a little bit less hot, and we can turn it with I forgot the word, with absorption cooling. We can turn it into air conditioning or heating or both. We also have a system in which we can gasify the waste into biojet fuel, which is now a big issue in the aviation, in which they want to go away from fossil fuel to biojet fuel. And our system, as it is, can be stationed in every airport and not in big facilities. We have several strategic alliances offering. We can have investment in specific projects, in specific product line, or strategic customers. And of course, what we are looking for right now is a smaller investor into our corporate structure in order to be able to go out and create the systems we want to build. The company is based in Israel. It has another sister company in the United States, and we are opening an office in Mumbai, India. We have partners in Indonesia and in Vietnam, in which we have won several very prestigious projects. You probably all have heard about the island of Bali in Indonesia. We have won their waste to energy. We have won 2 large cities in India, and so on. The team, you can read, it's me, of course, at the top, but we have very, very experienced people in different disciplines that have been working with me on the system that we have at hand. Our financial projections are extremely good, but this is only projections. The current status is that we are building, or hope to build, a 240 metric ton a year of wood pellets. We have been awarded 2 projects in India. Thank you. And some other businesses. And we are very excited, and we are looking for strategic partners or financial partners to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I hear Amy's alarm still going off. Powerful. Okay, I have a couple questions that came in through your chat, but again, I'm going to encourage everybody to ask your questions on chat. There's a question about what about the gases that result from the 1200-degree burn?
There are almost no gases because the system has an internal gasification filtering system in which all the gases are being turned into CO2 and some other benign gases. And our pollution level is the lowest in the industry. We do have pollution. I mean, you cannot gasify without pollution, but our standards are way below the acceptable line.
Okay, great. Another question on where does all the energy come from to start the process going?
That's a very good question. Like you start a turbine or start a large engine, we do start the gasifier with natural gas or biogas or LPG, but this is a one-time lit up, and then it's a fluid bed and it continues to create the energy by itself.
Okay, great. This is a question I have actually. Have you actually built this yet? Because you said when we build it.
No, we haven't built the whole system. We did build the modules with our suppliers because our modules are different from what the suppliers are supplying us. And for instance, the hot air turbine is our mutual patent with Caterpillar, but we haven't put together a whole system. We now have 3 orders in which we are going to do it.
Great. There's a question here that says, would you help us better understand your total carbon footprint?
Well, our carbon footprint is very, very, very high. In other words, we can get a lot of carbon credits. That is one of the major issues in which we have won the contracts, because our carbon credits are the highest in the industry, very high.
Interesting. So who are your competitors?
Well, we have a lot of competitors because there are many large and small and medium-sized companies who are trying to do waste to energy, but no one can do two things that we are doing. One is take away all the waste, not leave anything with the customer. And secondly, produce enough energy to be able to get the low rates that are stationed today for electricity, which is today about 9 to 10 cents a kilowatt hour, without charging the municipality any processing fee.
So there's a question here that says, do you have two markets? So is it municipalities to get their waste and industries to get their energy?
Actually, yes and no. I mean, waste comes from the municipality usually, but if we go to a hospital is like a little city. It does have municipal waste, it does have biological waste, but we do have some solar thermal systems that we incorporate into the system at the hospital level in order to supply them all the energy they need.
Okay. Amy, how am I doing on time? Can I ask one more question?
One more minute.
Okay. So there's a question here about, so security and energy is kind of a strange combination. The question is, what is your business?
Well, it's a very good question. We were in security for 25 years. We were the world experts on airport securities. We have done many large airports all over the world. And then 3 years ago, we decided we are tired of being a security company, and we switched to the waste to energy market.
Okay, great. I think I'm going to end it there on questions, and thank you very much. And
thank you.
Make sure if you love this presentation, vote for Rafi.
Yeah, and next we're going to have Scott Cohen from Jackson, and you, Scott, you can share your screen.
All right, thank you, Amy. Can you see my screen now?
We can.
All right, going into presentation mode. Hello, everyone. Scott Cohen with Jackson AI. We are focused on helping machine learning models train, specifically train to understand what humans have spoken or written, or what's referred to as natural language. There's a dirty little secret within AI, and it's that it's powered by armies of humans. So the way that AI, quote unquote, or more specifically machine learning, learns new subject matter today is by looking at thousands, if not millions, of examples of something. Think back to when you're first learning the difference between a cat and a skunk, say, in the imaging world. You would have to look at images of a cat to be able to recognize that it's a cat, and the same thing for a skunk. And then there are areas where it might actually look similar. They both are black, they both have similar size. And to be able to disambiguate between the two, you need to look at lots of examples of each. And it's the same thing for natural language. Say we're trying to analyze a bunch of tweets. You want to give the system a bunch of labeled, that's the operative word here, examples of one tweet versus the other so it can properly classify it. An easy example would be for sentiment analysis, to be able to recognize someone talking positively about something versus negative. The real world, though, classification for machine learning models needs to go a lot more granular than that. And I'll get into that in a moment here. But big point of this slide is that it's a human solved problem today. Humans are taking months to read these examples one at a time and label them just to be able to start the training process. So it is the biggest bottleneck in machine learning today. And that is why we created Jackson. We actually had a consulting firm prior to this where this kept cropping up time and time again. We were building these big AI projects for large Fortune 500 companies, and this kept weighing us down. It kept being the stopgap to getting a project off the ground. So we've automated it. We've created Jackson. Jackson is using AI to automate as much of the process as possible. The vision we have for the company is to build AI faster and do it with as little human involvement as possible. We like to say that as opposed to the humans being in that factory working on the assembly line of labeling, they can design the assembly line. So humans are still involved. Machine learning hasn't progressed to the point where it can be completely autonomous. You have to give it some seed of knowledge, or what's called ground truth. But with Jackson, we can amplify a very small amount of human knowledge into a full training set. And so the accuracy of the models, the speed by which we can create these trained models is an order of magnitude faster. A case study we did with Wayfair, one of our first customers, was 100 times faster. And a nice ancillary benefit here is that not only does it produce in such a fast way, but because the humans have bias, humans sometimes make mistakes, we are actually producing better training sets on the other side. So a lot faster and more high quality training sets. All right. So the reality of the data science teams today that we're focused on, and we're focused on these larger data science organizations, the ones that have north of 20 data scientists, they've matured to a point where they recognize this as being a big pain. The Fortune 500 companies of the world that have actually embraced AI are our targets, and these data science teams are now buried with work, and they're trying to keep up. And so every time a new request comes in, if they have to wait for the humans to label it, it really not only irks the business units, but slows down the ROI to using that machine learning model. What we're doing is using a series of algorithms. Jackson is able to pick and choose the right algorithms for the job. It's a horizontal platform. It has no preconceived notion as to how to process the data until the data arrives. So the data drives the process in collaboration with the humans, or you think of it as a human-machine interface here, where you have data scientists that are imparting the problem spec, defining what classes do you want to have the data bucket into. You have analysts that are reviewing the work, validating that the machine's actually doing the right job. And developers here, this is relatively unique to what we're offering, and this is along that vision of shortening the amount of time and limiting the amount of human supervision. If you have subject matter experts that know your data really well, you can codify that into a rule, but not a rule that has to be listened to, and that's a very important key here. It's a rule that Jackson might listen to if it has a high enough confidence level in to be able to pass along as a training set example. And so the ability to abstain when Jackson doesn't have that high enough confidence level is one of the reasons why we're able to be superior to the human offering, is that if it sees an ambiguous example, it throws it out. As opposed to a human, it still labels it, because the humans have been told label these 100,000 examples, and they don't get paid until they do it. So they're labeling everything, and then the data science teams take it in, and they're starting from an inherently flawed ground truth point. So a lot faster and a lot better. Here's a benchmark study we did where it shows how little human involvement you really need to get lift to the model. And the lift analysis here is a big metric that we use for Jackson, is how much better was the model with Jackson versus without. And so what this is showing here, What this is showing here is a point of diminishing returns at 5% of human involvement. All right, since 1 minute to go, there's a big exciting thing I want to share. This is the case study of before and after. But we then went and got picked up by the Air Force, and we're getting into a lot of different outlets within the Department of Defense, which is great for investors in that we have non-dilutive R&D money coming our way that helps us on the more commercial sector side of the house, or what the DoD calls dual use technologies. So we're part of an accelerator right now at Hanscom Air Force Base, being quartered around and having fun with it. So with 1 minute to go, I guess I will skip down here to what we're raising is a
10
$3 million
seconds
seed round. And would love to talk to anyone interested.
Great. Thank you, Scott. I have a question here about revenues to date.
200,000 in Q1. So we came out with our version 1 release the very end of last year. We landed Wayfair in January, PyQ in February, and the Air Force in March. And so Q1 was a $200,000 quarter, and we are targeting 1.5 for fiscal year 2020.
Great. I have a question. You may have had to skip this, but there's a question here on your team and the qualifications of your team.
So we started out commercializing technology from MIT, actually. It was DARPA funded within Sloan's IT group around semantic data integration, getting one representation of data to mesh with another. And that was with Greg Harmon here. That was starting in 2003. We've been doing software companies ever since. Our most recent one was that machine learning consulting firm. We grew it up to 50 consultants and got it acquired last year. We had been building Jackson inside of that consulting firm and invested 1.6 million into R&D prior to the acquisition. And then at the acquisition, we did an IP assignment out to Jackson Inc. and took a team of 10 with us.
So this is my own personal question. So who are you actually selling to within the organizations that, is it the data science lead, or, who's the decision maker?
It's a tangled web to navigate, but so there are business units that have these use cases, and the data science teams are the ones that build the models. So they think of the business units as the customers, but the way that we talk, the technology and the positioning is really geared toward the data scientists. So we get them as our champions. We might have to get budget from a business unit, but more often than not, the data science teams, typically reporting to the CTO, have the budgets for tooling to serve as force multipliers, because this is a very well-known pain in the problem of creating a trained model. And so we've been finding that the head of data scientist tends to be the key person to get through, with supporters of influences around the director level. So head of data science is who ultimately signs the dotted line.
Great. So there's a question. It says, are you raising $1 million now, but you need 2.5 million?
Sorry, we've already raised the $1 million.
Okay.
And
yeah.
so that is being capped. The convertible note that we've been using for this $1 million raise, the end of June, we still have room on it up to 2 million per board approval. But the intention here is that we would convert all the pre-seed investors into our first priced round of 3 million.
Okay, great. I think that's all the questions I see coming in. Does anybody have any questions? We have a little bit more time. Nothing? Is there a slide you want to get back to?
Yeah, we have a patent pending on the idea of every time something runs through Jackson, anytime a model is created and data passes through, it's storing for reuse. So the next time a use case comes up that's tangential, you have a starting point. You don't have to start from scratch.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next up is Dave Watkins from Livindi.
Excellent. All right. Let's see, ready to go? All right, thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me to this wonderful opportunity, and it's great to talk to you today. My name is Dave Watkins, and I'm the co-founder of Livindi. I want to tell you a little bit about the founding team. Prior to Livindi, we started a company that we grew from the ground up with no external financing, and we built it into a $35 million annual revenue software company that we later successfully exited. During that time, we worked with some of the largest healthcare companies in the world, and we saw the need for Livindi. Now, on a personal note, I watched my grandparents try to age in place, and there was just nothing in the market like Livindi that would help them do basically what they needed to do and solve the problems that they had. So Livindi is an in-home connected care platform for seniors, caregivers, and insurers to communicate, monitor, and deliver care services. The problem Livindi solves is one that one in every 2 seniors is actually socially isolated. In addition, there are 34 million fatigued caregivers in the US alone that spend more than 18 hours a week providing unpaid care to a senior family caregiver. 20 million of these caregivers have to take time off from work to provide these caregiving services. The effect of these problems for insurance companies is higher costs, and these higher costs are related to care plan non-adherence and higher readmission rates. For the seniors, it's a lower quality of life. And that's because these seniors who are socially isolated, they go to the ER 30% more often, and they go to the doctor 80% more often, and have a higher incidence of diabetes, dementia, and depression. What makes things worse now with COVID is that these seniors who were socially isolated before now basically can have 0 visitors, and that's a much bigger problem. So meet Jackie. Jackie's a grandma. She's got a loving family. Her daughters and sons live far away, but they care for her. They're worried because she's alone, so they buy her Livindi. Livindi basically shows up in a box. It looks something like this. I don't know if you can see me out there. Kind of a little bit. But anyway, it shows up in a box, and it's already connected to the internet, and it's really simple to set up. And what Jackie gets is a number of things. The first thing she gets is actually the Livindi pad, and that sits next to her favorite chair and allows her to touch her granddaughter's face or her daughter's face in order to start a video call. In addition, she gets to see pictures of the digital picture frame of grandchildren all day long. The second thing she gets is actually the Livindi sensors. These are wireless sensors that are put on the walls with stickers. They last 2 years on 2 AA batteries, and they're measuring things like eating patterns, bathroom patterns, motion, activity, light, temperature, humidity, and a number of other things. The information that's being used by the Livindi machine learning, basically it's put back into the system, and it's looking for issues and looking for changes in behavior, like sleeping patterns, and it's looking for basically things that are different. Now, if it detects something that's different, let's say, for example, that Jackie might have fallen, it sends a notification to caregivers via the Livindi app. They get notified of information. They can chat, they can talk, they can basically click on a button and talk directly to Jackie. Jackie also has wearables as part of the Livindi that monitor things like her heart measurement, like her heart rate. In addition, she also has a PERS, and that's connected via a cellular connection. She can use it outside the house. It allows her to tap on a button 24/7. She can call emergency services, and they can connect her to caregivers. In addition, insurance companies are also talking to their members because they get a payer portal. So they have the ability to actually connect directly to somebody in their living room. And people basically appreciate that information being pushed to them. We also have the concept of a concierge. So Jackie can tap on a button and talk to a real person who can get her services and help her with social isolation. They actually talk to her on a pretty continuous basis. Now, the glue underneath everything is the Livindi Cloud Services. And this is really where the heart of our solution is. You know, we've got a software platform that supports this machine learning and this ongoing reporting structure. Now, what really makes Livindi different is we're a personalized member engagement platform. But not only focusing on a senior, we focus on family caregivers as well as, and that also increases adoption. It makes Livindi a trusted platform inside of somebody's living room. It's used by the family. It can also be used by the insurance company, and it helps provide their services. We provide preventative care So we're not just looking at people who are sick, we're also trying to prevent them from being sick by continuously assessing their wellness and making sure they're okay. The concierge service also allows us to connect to other services. For example, the insurance company might have an existing a nursing line. We can access that nursing line through our concierge to help seniors at any time of day. Now, the market for our opportunity is huge. According to ARP, the family caregiver market is a $470 billion market. If you look at the home healthcare and senior living market, it's about $148 billion. And if you look at the amount of money that payers can save by reducing emergency room visits and reducing doctor's visits that result from social isolation, it's an $85 billion market in that place alone. Now, our traction has been phenomenal. We have about a 52% daily active use to monthly active use in our user base. On days when seniors receive video calls or receive digital pictures, there's a 27% increase in their physical activity. And the caregivers spend an average of 21 minutes per day in the application. Now, customer feedback's been great. The thing I love about our customers, unlike our first software company, I've been basically, in the software business forever. That our customers hug us. It's kind of it's an interesting thing. It's a phenomenon. They hug us and they praise our support. In some cases, it's the only way that they can actually talk to their parents. A lot of folks are older. They've got cognitive issues. They potentially have physical limitations. And Livindi is actually their portal into the world and their portal to engage family. So the team is an experienced team. In our previous company, we had we had over 5 million users, and we sold it. And basically, it was a solid exit, and we've got a similar solution in terms of what we're going to do with this company. We've been working together for 15 years. We know how to grow and build and execute on companies. Pricing is simple.
1 minute.
It competes with, comes complete with cellular. It's 100% pre-configured. So it's $399 and up, and it comes with a $39 a month subscription. There's a software-only option, which can basically bring your own device. That's a $19 per month offer, and that's really how we're going to achieve scale. We've got lots of competition in the marketplace, but we do things better because we integrate communication, monitoring, and care services. So in conclusion, our platform's in production. We have paying customers, the technology investment's complete, and we have partnerships with very large insurers. We're looking for investors, we're looking for partners, and we're looking forward to meeting you, and thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Dave. We had a bunch of questions come in. So the first one was around market research you've done relative to the acceptance of the monitoring of your sensors. Specifically, the caregivers may like the idea, and they note a lot of your testimonials were caregivers, but the seniors might have very different feelings about being, spied on.
Absolutely. So it was definitely something that we had to worry about. It's something that we thought through and we tested. So there are three major concepts. So first of all, there's no video. So it's all passive monitoring and it's activity based. It can be turned on and off. And the number one reason that seniors accept this methodology is because it's detecting their fall. And one of the things that we have within the software is when we see anomalies and we're able to get ahead of a problem, they appreciate that. And it's one of the things that keeps them up at night. And they don't like wearables. They don't like wearing that pendant around their neck.
Yep. So there's a question about the fall detection, actually. If someone falls, do the wall sensors pick that up, or is it an accelerometer in the wearable?
So we've got the ability to pair with an accelerometer in the wearable, but the sensors themselves are looking for anomalies, and the machine learning basically is determining that whether or not somebody is got the right patterns. So for example, if somebody leaves, we know that they've left because the door is opened up. But if they haven't left the apartment and we're not seeing the general patterns, we alert the family, as well as through the MPERS, we can notify basically a call center desk.
Great. Does this address the social isolation part of caregiver fatigue at all?
Yeah, so on the app itself, it's got the ability for caregivers to interact and communicate with other caregivers. and share their stories, share their challenges, and they actually can work across each other. So within the app itself, we're building those bridges, and there's opportunities to enhance the application there too.
Great. Sorry, I'm scrolling. There's a lot that came in. Does the caregiver use an app to engage, and is that free or a cost to them?
They use an app to engage, and it's free. There's an unlimited number of people that can actually use the app itself. So caregivers, doctors, friends, whoever it becomes something that's grandchildren. It can be given away to all of them.
Okay. I think so what's the sales decision-making process for something like this?
Our target market's the large insurers. And so the process is typically a business unit or a department. So we're a B2B2C company. So inside the insurer, they're making decisions around regulatory issues like HEDIS and STARS. There's also new Medicare requirements that they lose some of their bonus dollars if they don't actually have a facility like this in somebody's living room. So the decision is typically a business user who's got a group of people, maybe in a rural community or now from COVID, just an isolated group, and they make a decision because they've got a policy-related issue. And then, usually it involves the CIO as well. And then what happens is the consumers, we find, graduate out of a program. So for example, they might only get it for rehabilitation time for a 90-day period, and then they decide to own it. So we're looking at about a 30% upsell to customers that keep this, that they want to keep this on an ongoing basis once the insurer takes them back.
What about sort of data privacy issues with the insurers? Is there anything that, are they not going to cover someone if, they, you know what I mean? Like there's all this monitoring is bringing data back to the insurers, are there concerns over that, and how have you addressed them?
So on a positive note, they don't have to share. So that the consumer can basically keep that information local and not share, and then that information becomes available to have a discussion about. But if they decide to share, that information basically is provided in an anonymous fashion. The information that we have in the app, and depending upon if you're typically without biometrics, you're not really collecting any medical related information.
Okay.
That's it. I think we're done with the 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks very much.
Okay, the fourth presenting company is Dan from Sentinel.
Alrighty, thank you so much everybody who's joining us today from the comfort of your homes. I hope everybody's staying safe during these kind of confusing times. Rafi, David, Scott, you guys did a phenomenal job explaining your tech and the hard work you've done to be here, so great job to you all. Amy, Katya, the MIT forum, thank you so much for having us. And James and the Hamilton Brooks Smith Reynolds group, thank you so much for hosting this event. And even through these crazy times, I can connect from Michigan and be connecting with Cambridge. That's pretty special. We are Sentinel, and we're protecting people and data. Sentinel is an open source, peer-to-peer, decentralized, and incentivized VPN network. What that means is we enable companies to establish their own blockchain-based VPN networks and applications at a very competitive cost. And that makes us the leader in transparent end-to-end encrypted VPN technology. We emerge in a world that as we transition more and more online, internet users see time and time again their data being compromised. Whether it's Facebook selling user data to Cambridge Analytica that ends up influencing a major presidential election, to innocent vacation goers getting their data compromised and sold on the dark web. In the case of Marriott in 2018, over 500 million passport numbers and addresses, very private and sensitive data, are getting exchanged online. And unfortunately, this topic is very poignant in the times that we live in now, where we're transitioning more online. And Harvard professor Shoshana Zuboff has written on the monetization of data. And Apple CEO Tim Cook reminds us that if we put a key under the mat for the cops, a burglar can easily find it. And if a criminal knows that there's a key hidden somewhere, they won't stop until they do find that key. So the burden is both on the user as well as the enterprise to protect the data. And we've seen a huge transition into the VPN industry over the past 5 years. We've seen an exponential growth in this space, and unfortunately, the systems that are at play are not completely bulletproof. And we see that the current models at hand are extremely expensive for the users, as well as the businesses that want to deploy these in case the business does want to protect their users. The infrastructure is extremely heavy, and it's cumbersome to code these things. And unfortunately, that doesn't even leave them impossible to attack. So they're prone to attack, as well as the legal liability of what gets communicated on their services.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mom. So this is the opportunity to enter Sentinel. We're decentralized virtual private networking. So as companies are the ones that are in control of all of the nodes, all of the servers on their organization, we're a network that provides the opportunity for peer-to-peer bandwidth hosting and sharing access to gaining internet routing through other internet users across our network. We've gone to market with our first application, which is a consumer-facing application on the Google Play Store. But we also have the PC version on Windows, on Linux, and on Mac. And just a quick snippet, this is what the dashboard of our decentralized virtual private networking application looks like on PC. As you can see, you can go to the individual jurisdictions where you want to have your internet routed through. You can see the bandwidth, and you can see the ratings of those node hosts, and it's all decentralized and peer-to-peer. And those node hosts are compensated for hosting their bandwidth. And you can pay to be able to use our decentralized VPN. But instead of just looking at this screenshot, I really encourage you to go to downloads.sentinel.co and actually try out the application and see what it's like to use a decentralized VPN. So not only do we have this consumer-facing application, and we've gained significant traction. We have over 50,000 downloads on the Google Play Store since going live a little over a year ago. And across all of our mediums, we have over 75,000 users. And we've been a community-based project. Building our own code and having multiple different entities contributing to our open source code to build out our applications. And really since the beginning of 2020, we've made the transition to a full enterprise team coming together as a corporation to provide not only consumer-facing applications, but also a B2B solution as well. So we're looking to provide private networking and white-labeled VPN solutions for enterprises. And our first paid client is Spider VPN out of the UK. Not only are we looking to grow enterprise clients, but we're also looking to deepen our network and partnerships within private and secure networking. We partnered with companies like Sodiotech and Pivx, and we are a founding member of the Blockchain Privacy, Security, and Adoption Alliance. Our network usage continues to grow, and right now we're seeing about 1 terabyte of data that's exchanged over Sentinel's decentralized private networking on a daily basis. And we have nearly 300 node hosts that are hosting their bandwidth to be able to secure this network. And you can see all of this publicly at stats.sentinel.co. So I encourage you to go there to see our growth to date. And we're also getting some real world acknowledgement. I don't have the time to go into all of the news articles that we've been pinned in, or some of the consumer facing application feedback we've received. But Brave Browsing is really the leader in private and secure internet usage as the best browser for private browsing, and they wrote a write-up on the decentralized virtual private networking space and highlighted Sentinel as a leader in this category with proof of traffic to be able to understand how much bandwidth you're consuming, but not being able to track your personal data usage. So this is where Sentinel really differentiates ourselves. As Humam mentioned, maintaining all of your own servers comes with liability and also comes with extreme cost. NordVPN was hacked just last year, the largest player in the space. And because we have decentralized node hosts, and because our code base, both for our front-facing application and either WireGuard, OpenSOX, or OpenVPN, is also open sourced with MIT licensing, then you can see the actual back-end application. And it's given us good feedback on how we need to continue to operate to make sure that our tech is really robust and secure. And we're using blockchain technology on the Ethereum network and also on Tendermint to secure the back end of the technology. And you can see here, this is the different players in the space. Pure VPN is the only other application that is allowing white labeled solutions, similar to what we are. So you can imagine a gaming company that wants to have a VPN integrated within their software so that they could actually provide this to their own user account systems, but they could leverage Sentinel's DVPN to create their own white labeled solution. Pure VPN is doing that. but they're not open source and they're not provably encrypted. And Orchid is the only other blockchain-based VPN solution, and they've raised 60 million in venture capital funding, but they don't provide a peer-to-peer bandwidth solution for nodes on their network. So we're really kind of the only player in this space that provides these benefits both for enterprise and for consumers. So there's three ways that you can interact with Sentinel. You can use us on our end user VPN application. You can build on us, similar to what a gaming company can do. And actually Velocity is a new company that just came out yesterday and is building a white labeled DVPN solution. And David, I'd be interested to hear what you guys are building with Livindi and how your networking is secure, and if there could be VPN integrations with how you build out your networks as well. And then also you can host with us. You can share your bandwidth to the network to be able to host a node on the network. And so, you know, where we're looking to go throughout the next 2 quarters, we really want to continue to grow our software as a service model, starting with Spider VPN is our first enterprise client. We want to grow our enterprise clients. We want to build out the core infrastructure and team that we need on the development side to be able to do so. We want to achieve market leadership in our node hosting service. We're already in the head of the game in this, and we see it a growing space. We have about 300 nodes right now. We want to get to over 5,000. Human mentioned earlier, he spoke earlier, he's our COO. I'm the CEO. Srinivas on this call is our CTO, and Tom and Consolata round out our leadership team. And we're really excited to bring the future of revolutionizing the VPN industry and providing decentralized applications for VPN. We really want to thank the MIT Enterprise Forum for offering us this opportunity, and Hamilton Brooks Smith for sponsoring this event. Now we thank you really much for your time, and we're open for any questions.
Great. The first question that came in is, what does development look like in the near term?
Yeah, so let's, I can go back to this slide here. The first thing we need to do is continue to build out our, now that we have kind of established a presence in our software as a service solution, our consumer facing application, we're looking to build out our SaaS model for private networking and white label solutions for entrepreneurs that are looking to build out VPN companies, and growing a consistent revenue model with our enterprise clients. And then we're also looking to continue to grow our market leadership within node hosting. And we want to make sure that to be able to host a node is as seamless as possible. And so we're building out the front end application for node hosting so that it's an even easier process to host a node across the network.
Okay. There's a question here about when you say open source, which code are you using and under which license? GP, MIT, BSD, or GPL, MIT, BSD. And you know, MIT is the only acronym under that I actually know, so.
Srini, can you speak to that?
Yeah, we are open source our code under the MIT license currently, yeah.
Okay. What would it take for someone to host a node on your network?
Yeah, so right now you would go to docs.sentinel.co and all of our documentation is there. And at docs.sentinel.co, you can go to the page for node hosting. You need basic hardware requirements. You don't need a quad core processor, but you need a dual core processor. You need at least 4 gigabytes of RAM for hardware requirements. And then you'd be either running OpenSOCKS or OpenVPN to be able to run the node through your computer. So we do have, like I said, up to 300 nodes across the world that are hosting on our network, and we're looking to really grow that. And we want to make the front end application more seamless as well.
Great. A question here about what successes you've had to date.
Yeah, so the first is the success of the traction of our decentralized VPN application. And that's kind of our beachhead as far as getting traction in the market and the growth of that product and the adoption of that product. So we're getting nearly 1 terabyte of data consumed over that application daily, and around 300 to 500 active sessions at any given moment in time across the network. And we've gotten traction from Brave Browser, and Kyle Samani is a pretty well-renowned venture capitalist in the cryptocurrency space. And he wrote an article in CoinDesk around industries that are ripe for disruption, leveraging decentralized technologies And he also highlighted Sentinel as one of the more impactful companies in the space. So I think we're starting to see the market recognizing the technology we're building as well.
Correct. And I would also like to share that that up until now Q1 2020, Sentinel has operated purely as a community-based project without an executive board or like any sort of incorporations and that stuff. So over the past 2 months, the executive team has been elected with myself, Dan, and the rest of us that round us out. In order to really take this product to market and push the exponential growth that a product that didn't have folks pushing it was experiencing. So I think that's important just to know kind of where we're coming from and our background to get here as well.
Great. Well, thank you guys. We are out of time for today. Again, I encourage everybody who had questions that I couldn't ask of any of the participants to hop on the Slack channel. And continue the conversation there. Everybody's slides will be there. Again, I want to thank Hamilton Brook Smith Reynolds for supporting today's event, and we will make sure you vote. We'll send the recording out with some edits probably on Monday, and we will see you at the next Startup Spotlight next week, next Friday, same time, same place. Take care, everybody.